Good evening. Welcome to Fantastic Dimensions. This is Harbinger Ascension First Strike. So this is the follow-up to our kind of prologue session that we did recently, preparing, setting up the rebellion itself. Now this will be the first strike going on in the actual outbreak of war of the rebellion itself. Now there will be multiple things happening simultaneously across the known orbits. This is simply one particular scenario. I will be running others in this series, however, in future. So, yeah. What I'll do right now, real quick, is we'll go one by one and let you guys just quickly kind of introduce your characters and give us a quick description of them, and then we'll roll into the session. So, if you want to go first there, Mr. Lamb.
Greetings. I'm going to be portraying a mechanist from House Roldo, Claude Clouseau. He's a bit of a mutant, poisoned by the terrible Trithon radiation crap they dump on our planet. So he's 5 foot tall, pale skin, lots of scars, completely hairless, and a little bit of a swarthy little freak. He's good with machines, and his spheroids take the form of little metallic bugs. And there you go.
Very good. And Juve, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you're playing?
I will be playing Mitch McGee, mechanic. This is my first time playing this system, so I'm going to see how it goes.
Excellent. And Juve's character, Mitch McGee, is a mechanist under Sept Al-Zareen. And Mr. Large, would you like to introduce your character?
Hi, I'm playing a character called Golga Grimor of the Sept of the same name. Like many of his Sept, he's a mercenary, effectively, but he's seen the potential in this rebellion and wants to be on the winning side, effectively. He's not much of a mechanist like the two members of the team who are with him. He's more of a fighter and a sort of straightforward, out-and-out sort of combat person. Like Juve, my first time playing Harbinger, so yeah, let's see how it goes.
Excellent. So, your mission, as we've just described previously to starting the recording, is to infiltrate a capital ship, the flagship of the small fleet that is protecting the moon of Ozen at the moment, under the Sept Trithon, the sovereign flag, essentially. You are to infiltrate it and access the communication systems on that ship. You need to set up to shut them down, essentially, and send a signal out to the preparing invasion fleet that will be moving in to strike the moon itself. Then once you've done so, essentially you're going in to make sure that they won't be able to signal for help, reinforcements, things of that sort. So you are going under the guise of a munitions delivery, so you'll be flying in with a transport. And if you want, we can do a little kind of prelude to you setting up. You can kind of in-game here, we can decide your plan for how you want to infiltrate the ship once you've actually arrived in their loading bay for the delivery of the munitions, if you like. I guess, first of all, we could determine who wants to kind of be, I guess, I know nobody probably wants to volunteer, but who wants to be in essentially command? Somebody has to kind of take the lead to some extent when it comes to decision making. Any takers?
I tend to be real pushy, so I'm not going to volunteer right off the bat. I tend to take that role all the time, so I'm going to see if anybody else wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not going to be me.
No?
Yeah, for myself, I'm seeing my character, like I say, he's more of a sort of like a mercenary. I'm seeing him mainly, his job's there to make sure you guys survive long enough to like do what needs to be done with the technical side of stuff. So I can't see my character being in like a lead role.
Okay, well, Mr. Lamb, I think it then comes back to your character Claude to
Very good.
take the kind of you know, the commanding role essentially for this small infiltration team.
It actually works okay because it is his planet that's in question. His moon is at question right now.
It is indeed.
I would say at this point that because we are going to a ship that's primarily mechanical, if they were to receive a shipment, that it would be like not necessarily from space elevator, but it would be more like drone related. So probably the ship would be on autopilot. So if that was the case and we didn't need to fly ourselves in, I was thinking that maybe we could do one of the things where it was a routine delivery of parts and supplies and such, and we just hide ourselves amongst the cargo.
Sure. You guys don't have to be the only people on this transport too. There could be a flight team that's in charge of flying it. So, you know, that's perfectly fine.
But this way, it wouldn't. It would be like one of those routine things where the ship pulls up, docks, the cargo slides in, and then it pulls away. There's really no reason for organics to come on board, and that would probably be better because that way would rise less suspicion. If people came on board, they might put their security measures up.
Sure.
That would be my thought. That would be my initial offering.
Do you have any thoughts, Golga, about that particular approach? Any concerns that might come to mind?
It sounds fine to me. I mean, obviously, I don't know the specifics within the setting, but would they have any way of, like, other than physically checking for, like, scanning for life forms? Like, would it be, because obviously if it's like a standard thing that they just like blip all of the cargo through whatever passes through their scanner, then unless we get out before then.
If they actively decided to scan for life forms, they would be able to detect you, correct?
I suppose it basically means how much have we managed to find out about their sort of standard routines. Obviously, we know the routine to the extent that we know we can get onto this automated transport and be part of the cargo that's dropped off. Would we know what their sort of standard operating procedure was at all? Obviously, if we know that like they only scan stuff when it's like of special interest, we're probably all right. Whereas if routinely they just shove everything through a scanner, we'd know that, well, we're potentially going to be discovered like right off the bat.
Right, that's a good call. We could pull our ace in the hole right off the bat and have our spy on board press the right button to bypass our cargo from being checked.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking obviously at some point we're going to be discovered, but obviously we want to have got as much of our objective done as possible before that happens to make it easier. We don't want to be sort of like having to fight our way through to the comms and disable them while we're under fire and then trying to fight our way back out again.
Of course.
Right.
Makes good sense.
Maybe we could have our ace in the hole be the person that is involved with the receiving of the goods.
Yeah.
And that way we just bypass the whole process. He could say that it was checked and we could just move on about our deal.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to think what the term would be. I don't know for space and air, but essentially like a quartermaster type that looks after
logistics
cargo and
like sort of customs official, and he just sort of like rubber stamps the sheet or whatever and says, "Oh, yeah, I've checked that one, it's fine," and just like sends it through.
Exactly.
You would know that a lot of the systems are going to be automated anyway, and that there'll be a lot of baromechs involved with the loading and the transportation and things of that sort. However, there would be an organic who's in charge of that department anyway. So far, anyway, the machines, the baromechs that are working for Trithon, while they are dangerous and very efficient in their own way, they're not very cunning. They're not super intelligent. They're not necessarily even 100% kind of self-aware in the same way, because they're basically inhabited by undead spirits or whatever. So there are still humans in charge of each particular department.
Do we have any idea how many, roughly, like how many organics are on the ship? I mean, if we get out of this crate and we're sort of like making our way to to our objective and we're spotted by some of these baromechs, are they likely to be sort of like raising the alarm straight away because they're not expecting to see people wandering about? Or are there enough organics that just like catching a glimpse of us isn't immediately going to like get the red light bulbs flashing?
There aren't that many organics. Let's see here. I'm going to say that the ship has a crew complement of 350, and out of that, 35 are organic. So the other 315 are baromechs.
Mm-hmm.
So about 10%.
Okay.
So it depends on how you're seen, and if you wanted to try to secure Trithon uniforms or something along those lines for disguise purposes. And it just depends on where you're seen and what you're doing at the time. Of course, there's a possibility that you might be able to avoid raising alarm just by being spotted. However, it also depends on if any of these machines decides to do a full scan on you, they could probably quickly identify that you're not a member of the crew.
Yeah, makes sense.
So if we knew this ahead of time and we brought our own uniforms, we would pass a cursory security check, but to get full ones, we'd probably have to take out some other members of the crew and take their uniforms and such. That is a thought.
Or possibly implant some kind of a device on each of you that will alter the bioscans so that when they do a bioscan on you, you appear to be a member of the crew. Like if you got access to information, like your spy got you information as to who was aboard the ship, you might be able to create and plant some kind of device under your skin or something that would kind of throw off any bioscans. I would say you're somebody that you're not.
Give me just a second. My house AC is making a terrible noise. Let me go check it real quick.
Sure. Juve, are you back? Okay, Juve's not back yet. I think he had to step away for the restroom for a moment. So both of our technicians are away while we're talking about doing some technical stuff.
That's it, man. What can I say? I'm just a guy with like a giant sword. Although, but bizarrely, I do have astrogation.
Oh, we could talk about equipment, though. By the way, I think you just took starting equipment.
Yeah, I've literally just got like hide armor, melee weapon, like great sword, short bow, and like a basic gear kit.
Now, your sept generally tend to prefer melee weapons over firearms anyway.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I had the option of taking a carbine, but when I read that, I just went, all right, I'll go for the martial weapon instead.
Okay, as you wish. What is your melee weapon?
It's a great sword.
Big sword, yeah, great sword. Cool. Very good. If you want an upgrade on armor, though, I would definitely give you one. Depending on, I guess maybe we'll talk some more about your here with the other guys, but if possible, I mean, I'd let you go all the way up to like plate armor, essentially. We would flavor it in a little bit more of a science fantasy style. But I've done that before.
That's cool.
So it'd be like an ablative kind of armor. And Juve is back. Juve, why don't you go ahead and let me see here. I'm trying to think. Yeah. What's your charisma, Juve?
Charisma is 8.
8. Oh, it's not your best score, no? Well, go ahead anyway. I'm going to let you roll an advantage because you're a member of Sept Alzarine, and they are the sept that's directly beneath Trithon. They're like the administrative sept that takes care of Trithon's business. So go ahead and give me a roll with advantage. So you roll 2d20, pick the highest one. Tell me what you roll.
All right, give me 1 second. You said 2d20?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you pick the highest.
Yep. It's 5th edition D&D, basically.
10.
10 was your highest?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were only able to obtain 2 Trithon uniforms, not 3.
Okay. So I have a uniform now.
Well, you have 2. We're just still in here, so.
Well, depending on what armor I've got, because you were just talking in about potential upgrading my armor. If I can get armor that sort of looks like generic security armor, then potentially the 2 uniforms can go to like the other 2 guys.
Possibly, yeah. Like say they've got 2 kind of officers' uniforms, because most of the organics, in fact, just about all of the organics on this ship would be, they would be officers anyway. So they've got 2 officers' uniforms, and you could wear some kind of like a heavy security uniform. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and take that armor upgrade, then for Golga.
Okay, what were you saying? What sort of armor were you saying I could upgrade to?
Mechanically, put it down as plate mail.
Okay.
And like it'd be like a really heavy ablative armor, essentially.
Okay. Takes it to AC 18.
Now, what color scheme do you want for it? Do you want to go with the Trithon colors? Do you want to go with the Grimoire colors?
You'll have to explain to what are the 2 different color schemes for them.
Well, basically, essentially trying to determine what kind of security member you want to look like. Most of, the security forces aboard this particular ship would be mechanized, would be baromechs anyway. But if you still wanted to try to look like you're in service to House Trithon, you could go with their color scheme, which is kind of I was going with kind of a black and dark blue kind of color scheme for Trithon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whereas Grimoire, we've never actually determined colors for all these different steps that I'm aware of. But I just based on what I've seen in previous games, I'd see Grimoire would have a lot of red and white kind of motif.
I'm quite happy to go for the Trithon colors. It makes sense given the mission that we're involved in.
Sure. So, you can have your ablative plate painted into that color scheme.
That's it. Yeah, it probably did have the Grimoire colors, but it's been, like you say, repainted for this.
Absolutely.
This particular mission. I'm probably not terribly happy about it, but it's got to be done for the good of the mission.
Of course. And John, did you still want to go ahead with that bioscanner plan idea, or did you have a different idea, something else in mind?
No, that sounds perfect. Do you need me to make a roll for bioscanners or no?
We are. The question would be then, who do you want to disguise your biosignals as? And then also, what are you going to do about Golga's biosignals, since he's going to stand out a little bit, since he's not in an officer's uniform? And technically speaking, there's no reason why an organic security person should be aboard this ship. So we might have to be a little creative with that.
Could we be doing the classic delivering the Wookiee to the prison depot kind of thing? Could we be bringing him on board as having information vital to the cause, or he's was found to be a stowaway or something like that, or would they simply just shoot him and throw him out the cargo hold?
That's a good question. Well, let's think about it. Let's think of a cover story. What would you say his crime was?
Well, the only crime, if it was anything other than something to gain information, like if it was terrorism or something like that, they would just kill him. Murder, they would just kill him. But if it was something that they needed to further check to see if he knew anything, like he was found to have information on some sort of terroristic threat or something like that, then they'd want to keep him alive.
Right, for interrogation. That's fine. And where do you want to say he was captured? Aboard this particular ship?
That he was on board the delivery craft, probably.
Okay.
That's if we get caught with him.
Right. Or you could even just
But
say,
if we have our,
you could say he snuck on with the munitions person, you know,
right,
possible cover even.
and if we have our ace in the hole standing by for walking into the craft, maybe we could, if we got caught, we could request him as being a point of contact, and then maybe he can smooth it out.
Sorry, as a point of contact for which? For your prisoner transfer?
Right, that would be the name that we would throw out. Well, maybe we found this guy when we entered the ship, and there were some mumblings down below about some sort of terroristic threat, and then we found this guy. Perhaps we should deliver him to so-and-so, and that so-and-so would be our ace in the hole if we get caught.
To the captain, right?
Right.
Let's give the captain a name. Oops, I think my pencil's fucked. Let's see, a good Trithon name. Captain, I'm going to go something really cheesy here. I'm going to go with Captain Steel. I see the Trithon, Trithon family is all taking names like to do with like metals and things of that sort, you know.
It'd be Captain Stern.
Oh my god.
Okay, so then let's give a roll then for the generation of your bioscanner devices, John. So that's going to be a tech roll.
Alrighty. Do we need to have our dice shown? Because my dice roller's dead for a while.
I've always gone with an honor system, and I prefer to roll real dice to dice stream anyway.
All right, and let's see. A tech roll is going to be at +6. So I'm just going to roll straight up, not with advantage, I assume.
Nope.
1d20. What's that?
Yep, just go ahead. Just roll 1d20.
I have a natural 20 plus my 6.
Good. Yep, so you can do that. So
I can't remember the last time I rolled a natural 20, and it's my first roll. That's classic.
So if you're caught, Golga is your prisoner. And you guys are officers. We'll make you lieutenants. Do you have a... Let me think here. Well, you're members of Trithon. Although you're a mutant, right?
Yep.
No hair. Is that right?
I'm sorry, say again?
You're a little dude, right?
Yeah, he's 5 foot tall.
Okay. Well,
there's a wrench in the...
You'd have a hard time fooling any organic officers, perhaps, but you might be able to fool one of these stupid baromechs. So let's come up with some names for you. You will be Lieutenant Ironsides.
Ironside.
And Mr. McGee will be, think of another good industrial sounding kind of name. Why is my brain failing me now? Lieutenant Crane. What'd you say?
Axel Jones.
Lieutenant Axel works. There we go. Sounds good to me. Okay, and those are actually existing officers already aboard the this particular ship.
If we need a third name to throw out there, it'll be my good friend, my drinking buddy, good old Rusty Gears.
That sounds like a bar.
Does sound like a bar, doesn't it? Well, yeah, let's come up with a name for the ship itself, actually, too. This ship is, actually, I'm going to do a quick little search for a name here.
The Nebuchadnezzar.
No. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I'm looking for synonyms. Oh, that's a good one. A nice little throwback to another game that some of us have played a long time ago. This is the Warden. It's the flagship of the defense fleet orbiting Ozen. Okay, so I think you guys got a good plan put together. The next thing is, now the three of you are all going to try to sneak in amongst the munitions and hope that the plan to forego the bioscan works, right, for the munitions themselves. You're going to use your ace in the hole for that, you think, Claude?
Yes, sir. We'll have him standing by for that, just in case.
Cool. No problem. You can do that. So that'll go just fine. Your ship then approaches Ozen. You're on this big transport ship, which will then pull up, and it actually doesn't it doesn't actually land inside, the bays. It's too big for that, but it actually kind of pulls up and docks with the Warden, and then the munitions are kind of transported from one to the other, with you guys in the crates. Now, these could be pretty large crates. Do you want to say you're all in one just to keep it easier? Yeah, we'll do that. So you're all in one big. If you think of like those big, like the rail cars, that they use for transport and stuff like that, something like that, a little bit bigger than a semi-tractor trailer,
Gotcha.
And it's loaded up with munitions for the many guns that the Warden sports. So you're talking about large caliber, cannon rounds, essentially. You want to be careful. Nobody wants to smoke, I suppose, in the munitions crate.
Correct.
And you'll get aboard no problem, because your ace in the hole, your spy aboard, will make sure that the ship that the munitions bypass screening and are taken directly to the what would you call it? The ammo dump, whatever, where they store the extra munitions. Is that accurate, John? You've got more military experience than I do.
Ammo dumps are typically large scale, like warehouses, but on a ship like this, it would just be to the munitions, like cargo area.
Cool. Yep. So you'll get dropped off in the munitions cargo area inside this dark crate. Now, of course, you can have those. Can't think what they're called off the top of my head. The green glowing rod devices that you can use. They're called glow rods, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Harbinger. So you can have glow rods and stuff, so you can actually see while you're inside there if you want. And it's a big, heavy container, so it's not like it's going to shine through or anybody's going to see what's going on inside there. So there's no problem. It's quite efficiently unloaded and then stored by the machines here aboard the Warden, so you don't have any problems with getting jostled around or getting injured or anything of that sort. It's all extremely smooth and efficient. And eventually, all the movement stops and the noise stops, and you're fairly certain that you're now in the munitions warehouse or the munitions storage area. And all seems to be quiet outside, as far as you can tell.
I'm probably just going to sort of hold a finger to my lips and then just try and lift up like the lid of whatever crate we're in just a little bit, so I can effectively peep out, make sure the coast's clear before we actually start getting out.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Right. Okay. So perception is based on
Wisdom, I think.
wisdom. Okay, lovely. And I'm proficient in that, so I get my wisdom modifier and my proficiency bonus. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's a 17, 20.
Nice. Yeah, so you're looking around, and yeah, you are in this really large, like warehouse-sized room. You can see loads of crates similar to the one that you're inside. Now, when I say crates, it's not like a big wooden crate. It's like a big, like I said, it's kind of like a rail car type thing made of steel.
Shipping container.
Yeah, it's a big shipping container. You see several of them like stacked up in different areas and stuff. The one that you're in is stacked 4 levels high, so you're essentially you're 4 levels high, so you're about 40 feet up off the ground. And you do see there is a machine, a large humanoid looking, although it's probably 8 feet tall and 4 feet at least wide, man-like steel baromech standing kind of in the doorway, which is currently open, leading into this area. It's standing there. It has, when you look at it, you can see it has its right arm essentially is like a humanoid type arm. It's got a 5-digit, opposable thumb, completely usable hand. But the left arm is essentially like a kind of like a minigun. And it's standing there with its back towards you because it's just standing in the doorway there at the moment.
Okay, so given that the crate we're on sort of like 4 high, presumably there's like a big stack of like crates sort of like around us, like it's just part of a big stack. Is it possible, so as I'm looking at, for us to effectively climb out of the crate we're in and then sort of make our way down on the other side of the stack of crates to this baromech, so we can like effectively climb down the back so we're out of sight of it?
Yep, it would require a climb check to do so, unless you have another way of doing it, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to sort of as quietly as I can, sort of push the lid all the way open, sort of lowering it down so it doesn't make a noise. Then I'll climb out into like one of the crates behind it, and I'm quickly going to, like, without saying a word, just like gesture for the other guys to like get out quick, and then I'll point at like the sort of back end of this pile of crates and make a sort of climbing gesture. Roll. Oh, this will be good. 15.
Okay, yeah, that's good. You do manage to move the kind of the hatch, if you want to call it that, or whatever, the door bit aside without like making any loud creaking noises or banging noises, without alerting your guard, the sentry, as it were. Did anybody bring any rope or anything for that matter?
Yep.
Good. So yeah, you'll be able to.
Always have to have rope.
I'm all about that basic gear kit that I got with rope in it.
Hell yeah. So yeah, you'll be able to use that. In that case, then I won't make any of you guys make climb checks to climb down, since you have rope. Let you do it for free.
Cool. And that's not climbing down. Like, why are we doing this again? I mean, I'm a mechanic, not an adventurer.
Because everybody does their part. When we're in a rebellion, you do.
I fix engines and other things.
I'll be sort of last climbing down the rope as this discussion's going on, and then I'll just say, well, when we get access to the comm system, we'll need you to fix that. But first, we've got to get there.
Great.
And I'm going to... So go ahead.
I said, like, I'm too old for this. And begrudgingly keeps climbing down the rope.
Yeah, so when we get to the bottom, I'm going to peer around this pile of crates. I'm obviously looking to see, is the exit that this baromech's guarding like the only way out of this room?
Yeah, that's the only door in and out.
Okay, and does it seem to be doing any sort of like route of the place? Like, is it sort of like patrolling, or is it just literally like stood by the door?
It's just standing there and looking out into the big, massive hall. beyond. The corridors are pretty large. Like, I mean, this ship is manned largely by 8-foot tall robot men. So, imagine the halls, the ceilings are at least 10 feet high, if not higher. And they're probably at least 10 feet wide as well. So, yeah. It just seems to be standing there. Its head doesn't move either. It doesn't seem to be looking left or right. It just seems to be standing there. I mean, completely motionless. If you listen very closely, if you get close enough to it, you imagine you might be able to hear a little bit of the hum of the mechanics inside of it and stuff. Or if, well, none of you are answers, but if anybody were to check, of course, it would have a little bit of an Astra signature to it, just because Astra is used to infuse the spirits into these machines, you know what I mean, which gives them life.
Okay, so I'm going to look at Claude and I'll say, the way I see it, we have two choices. We either try and distract that thing and sneak past it, or we try and dispatch it before anyone becomes aware of our presence.
Well, I would be for dispatching it if you feel you could dispatch it without it sending an alarm or causing enough noise to generate an alarm. You feel you could take it out instantly?
Would I have any idea of how tough this thing is at all, Ian?
Quite possibly. Go ahead and give me a, we'll call that an intelligence check.
That's a 13.
They're pretty tough. Let me see here. Let me look at my stats here. Yeah, taking it out in one hit is not likely. However,
go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing is, I would get advantage against it on like the first turn, and I'd be doing at least 2 attacks, possibly 3 if I use my action surge on it.
Well, as confident
meta information into the chat for you. So there you go, just so you know how tough this thing is.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, that's pretty tough. How about we go with the distracting idea? If we're ready, I'll send forth one of my weird insect spheroids to distract it in a different direction. Have it do a little bit of vermin-like creeping about, and then when it draws it closer, it'll make a bigger noise and then actually skitter away and have it chase after it. That might be a plan, but I'm open to suggestions.
That sounds like a great one to me.
Works for me.
All right, so y'all be prepared, and we will we'll do that. We'll get as close as we can without having any obvious risk to being detected, and then I will send forth one of my weird insect spheroids.
Okay, so my question is, who is the worst at stealth in this group? What's your stealth modifier, John?
It's a mighty +1.
Well, what about yours, other John?
I am pulling it up right now.
And you too, Juve, what do you got for stealth?
Stealth would be listed in...
It'll be a dex one.
Yeah, you should have a list of skills. Whatever skills are listed there are the ones that you get to add your proficiency modifiers to. If it's not listed amongst there, then it'll just be your straight dex mod.
Yeah, I have investigate, perception, and tech. So mine is +1.
My dex modifier is I got a 16 for dex.
So that's a +3. So you're not the worst anyway. So it's going to be one of the other two. Let's see here. Since he's big and wearing ablative plate armor, we'll let Golga roll the stealth roll.
Fair enough.
That's a 14 for me.
That's going to be good enough. So you will be able to get as close as you can to it without alerting it. Yeah. And so you want to let your spheroid go?
Yep. I'm going to let it hiding in shadows at first, not making it an obvious flyby. And then when he gets on the other side of where we were, then start doing the fluttering and catching light about it, and then maybe fly into one of the light fixtures or whatever, and then fly back out. And then if that doesn't do it, then maybe a little clanking and banging on some pipes.
Oh, yeah,
I got a total of a 10.
I never described the lighting scenario in here. It's essentially it's a very dim kind of bluish light. Obviously, the baromechs don't really require any light at all, so you assume that the dim lighting is just for any organic officers who might come down to do inspections and things of that sort. So
sure.
But yeah, you can do that. You can go ahead and use a point. Mark off 1 point of Astra Fade to use the spheroid. I know that's not one of the spheroid listed, but it doesn't matter. It's a cool idea. I like the idea of using this thing to as a distractionary device. So as it flies over, gets over to kind of the other side of the storage area, and it does make that kind of little skittering and buzzing sound, and flies up, bangs off one of the light fixtures, and you see the large baromech turn quickly and looks into the room, and it kind of scans from left to right for a second until it's looking to the right in the exact direction of where the sound came from, and it starts to walk in that direction, kind of slowly and methodically, clanking. It's obviously quite heavy, and it makes a lot of noise as it does. So and so these big, heavy, mechanized footsteps, ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. It starts walking in that direction with its kind of mini gun arm, its left arm raised up and pointing in that direction. And you see, from its eyes, the eyes kind of begin to glow red, and you're pretty certain from your experience that it's currently scanning and looking for something in that direction.
So when it gets to the point where it's like as close as I think it's going to get to this spheroid that's been sent out, I'm just going to make a gesture towards the door.
Acknowledged gesture.
I'll wait for the other two guys to start moving. Then as they're sort of like running towards the door, I'll take off after them.
I do the same.
I got a quick question for you, Golga. Did you do anything to cover your tracks so far?
In what sense? Sorry.
Well, you guys had opened up the crate. You had lowered down a rope and used that to climb down. Essentially, what I'm asking is the crate still open and is the rope still hanging out of it?
Yeah, without sort of like climbing back up and like closing it and untying the rope at the top, which obviously means someone's got to climb down. We can't really. There's nothing we can really do about that. We'll just have to like hope, because it's like hanging down the back, it'll avoid detection for a while. So I think we're just gonna have to like focus on getting to where we're going as quickly as possible.
No problem.
If we climb back up to unhook it, we're going to make more noise. Will increase our chance of discovery. So we're just going to have to take that one on the chin and go for it, I think.
Yeah, we're not exactly espionage specialists, so it's an acceptable loss.
That's fair enough. So you guys will move into the corridor. Now, I think it's safe to say your spy contact aboard the Warden here would have supplied you with a kind of a map.
That was my one question, and I'm glad we covered it. Yep, because it would be nice to know where we're going.
Yeah, exactly. So you're in. Actually, you don't necessarily know which munition storage area you're in, so you'll need to try to figure that out. And from then, you'll be able to triangulate your position to the communications array, which is kind of towards the rear of the ship, not too far from the engineering section.
At each major junction for the case of the organics, there should be a fire escape map, which would be very simplified, but it would designate certain areas. So we should be able to extrapolate with that and our current map where we are.
Presumably as well, they might have it like sort of stenciled on the doors or whatever, like munitions.
Absolutely, yeah, right. If nothing else, that we could find it like that.
It's good enough to convince me. So you'll find yourself, you're in a, let me see here, actually. Juve, go ahead and give me just a straight D20 roll and tell me what you get.
All right. Let me get my dice roller up.
And while he's doing that, Claude, what would the your spheroid do as this large baromech is approaching it?
Yeah, at some point, when I never really brought it up or discussed it, do you think it would strictly be line of sight, or would I still retain some sort of control once it was out of sight?
No, I mean, they last for, I think, 10 minutes once you let a spheroid go. And, you know, generally, you know, it's attached to something or to someone.
Right.
But I'd say you could have just kind of basically given it a simple order.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
A simple kind of
Simple instruction
direction.
would be the only thing it would do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say,
and I rolled a 10.
Okay.
I would say that the initial attention drawing, and then once it got its attention, to go quiet for a moment so that it would stop and scan again, and then have it quickly barrel across the large facility as far as it can go, as low or as close to a corner or an edge of a wall or something like that, to not be in the open, but to generate as much noise as it could, but go as quick as it could on one straight path.
Okay. Just trying to kind of draw the thing around.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me see here. Go ahead and give me a stealth roll for you, then, Claude, and I will roll a perception roll for the baromech itself, just to see if it spots the thing or if it doesn't. Oh. Okay.
Alrighty.
I got a 20. Modified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 14 and then the +1, so 15.
Okay. So as you guys are kind of moving down this corridor, which at the moment seems to be empty, and again, it's still kind of that really deep bluish kind of hue to the light. A little bit brighter here in the corridor than it was in the actual munition store. But you hear the sound of a minigun start firing from inside that munitions bay here.
Is it towards us?
No.
As soon as I hear the gun, I'm just going to be like, go!
Going I.
And we'll start hot-footing it towards, using the map towards where we're supposed to be going.
And we will close the door behind us.
Oh, okay. So you're going to try to, just there's like a panel, essentially, and you can just, are you going to try to lock it down, or are you just going to close it?
I suspect that if we put a lock on it, it might like key up a light or an alarm of some sort. I would just say close it.
Okay, fair enough.
But if y'all want to try to lock it or disable it, then we could do that.
I'm just going to sort of hold up like a sort of armored fist and then like point at the control panel with like a questioning look on my face.
If you feel like pounding away, my friend, then pound away, but we need to get going.
Okay, so before we go, I'm basically just aiming to like smash the control panel with my fist, and then I'll be running after the rest of the guys.
Oh, wow. The old school locking mechanic, yeah?
Far be it from the small weirdo to tell the big armored guy what to do.
No problem. So, yeah, you smash it with your big gauntleted fist. Bam! And sparks fly out of it. And you're pretty sure that would have locked down the door. Now, you rolled a 10 on that basic D20 roll I asked you earlier, Juve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys are at a munitions area beside one of the port cannons around the middle of the ship, actually. So you've got a little ways to go to get to the communications area. And after Golga smashes the control panel in the door, you hear the sound of the locks, clicking in place. The lights begin to kind of flash there's a now like some red lights flashing in this hall, and you're pretty sure that some kind of alarm has been triggered. However, you're not sure if that's just from him smashing it or if that's from the actual fact that there's been machine gun fire going off inside the munitions bay, or maybe a combination of both.
Claude, are there any service hatches or maintenance tunnels we can use to get to the designated area unseen, or do we need to take the corridors?
At this point, we either need to take cover and look through the map to find something, or we just need to move as quickly as we can and try to find something en route.
Okay,
and
so
he's going to check the map.
So whilst Claude's doing that, I'm just going to be looking around the area and see if there's like any sort of like ventilation grills or anything along those lines.
Large enough for us to enter. Okay, we'll take a cursory look at the map. Do you need any kind of checks for that? You just want to call it? Ian?
Are you talking to Ian?
Are you there, Ian?
He's there, but he might be having internet problems. He's having technical issue. He'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got it.
Well, who knew smashing a fictional control panel would affect Ian's internet? Man, I must have smashed it really hard.
Right. Yeah. If you haven't seen very much on this game setting, it's a little bit off of what you might have seen already, because Harbinger deals with this great ship in a far future, and it's primarily all humans because it's being built by the Absolute Group. It's using the 5th edition as a structure, but it's pretty hard science. They're going for that harder science kind of approach, and mechanically it operates the same, but instead of magic, you got mancers. But for the most part, it plays out like a hard science fiction. It comes across as like a lot of like Fifth Element.
Right. Okay.
Without the aliens. So, and we're playing a couple hundred years before the ship arrives. So, we're more into the political intrigue and the foundation of. It's almost more Dune-like. There are a lot of great families and so forth, and the moon that we're over right now. They have these giant creatures that swim in the oceans. These giant eels. And they have an iron-like skeletal structure, and it can be harvested. And this iron-like structure is so unique that it can be used for machining and weapons, and it's lighter than steel, but it's stronger than steel. That sort of thing.
All right. Okay.
But this is the only place that you can get it, and so many technologies or so many mechanical aspects and industry rely on it that it's not quite as bad as spice,
but it's still like a major resource.
It is a major resource. It'd be like copper. Copper's very desired now, and there really isn't a whole lot that you can replace copper with for the price line.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a commodity, and right now the Trithon Sept, or the house, is a domineering conglomerate of other families all mushed together in one, and whatever planet that's not, or moon that's not part of their group, they get shit on. They get all the poisons dumped on them, all the pollution gets dumped on them, all the garbage gets left behind on their planet. They rape and pillage as they like, and they just leave the remnants. So a lot of these other great families have come together, and they're trying to establish a rebellion, not for the sake of rebellion, but really to get them out of war and get them wounded enough and stretch out their resources enough that they either have to negotiate or back down. So this is the forefront. This is the initial first strike, as it were.
Cool.
And the house that the sept that's in charge of this moon, they're known for being having an extensive spy network.
Okay.
They don't have a strong military power. They don't have a lot of fleets, but they control the Ironbone, and they have an extensive spy network.
Nice.
I think I'm back. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
The last thing we were going to do was
Yeah. My the router just fucking freaked out or something. I don't know. It was doing an update or something. Perfect fucking time.
I got you.
You know. But yeah, I'm back.
I was going to check the map to see if there was somewhere specific we could go to find a decent route, as noted through like a maintenance tunnel or maintenance access panel or something along those lines that's not a main corridor. Jeffrey tube, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no problem. And did you hear my description of what was going on after Golga smashed the control panel?
Okay. Yeah, you said there were some alarms going off and some red lights, and we didn't know what was going on.
There's no sound. There's no klaxons or anything of that sort. But yeah, there's some red lights kind of flashing now, so you can assume that there's some kind of alarm.
Yeah, and we don't know whether it's me smashing that or whether it's the gunfire in the.
Correct.
I'm going to apply my investigation expert skills to this map and try to find us the quickest egress that would give us the least amount of exposure.
Give me an investigation roll.
It is a wondrous +9. Yeah, I know, right? That's his one thing. That is his. This is his thing. You get to punch stuff. He gets to figure stuff out. Alrighty, die roll says 16 +9. So
nice. Yeah, you can find maintenance tunnels. Pretty much, it'll get you all the way down there to the actual right into the communications room itself.
How big are these maintenance tunnels on the map? Because I'm a fairly big fellow. So are we going to be able to? I mean, obviously it's not going to be a problem for Claude because he's like fairly small. Are we all going to be able to like fit through them?
I am of an appropriate size. You happen to be excessively large.
Whatever you have to tell yourself to help yourself sleep at night, Claude, is absolutely fine.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going into the access tunnel.
It's going to be tight for you in your armor, but you can do it. But just imagine, just kind of squitching along, you know what I mean, banging up against the sides of these things.
I imagine if it becomes necessary for me to make any sort of rolls while we're in there, I'll probably be at disadvantage.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. And you won't be able to turn around.
Okay.
So hopefully the person in front of you didn't have a lot of beans before this traveling.
I've got a breather. It's all good, man.
Okay, very good. Very
Do
good.
you guys want to determine a marching order for using these access tunnels?
I said I was going in, so I'm going to go ahead and take the lead.
Okay.
And I've got the map, so I'm gonna take the lead with my glow stick.
And who's going to go second?
I'm gonna look at Mitch and I'm gonna say perhaps I should go second. If we do have to turn around, there's no way I'm going to be able to run back down that passage. So Claude's not going to be able to get past me, but at least if you're behind me, one of us will be able to backtrack and get out.
I got no problem with that plan.
Okay.
Excellent.
Sounds good then.
And I'll head into the tunnel after Claude.
So it's tight. Well, it's tight, particularly for Golga. But for Claude, it's no problem at all, and for Mitch, it's not too bad either. I mean, you're able to crawl comfortably enough. You could even probably turn around require a little bit of flexibility to some extent, but you could even turn around if you needed to. Mitch.
I imagine, given the picture, like Claude could pretty much walk through here like twirling a cane, whereas I'm sort of like crawling along.
Right.
No, I mean even at 5 foot tall, Claude's still got to kind of crawl on all fours, but.
I'll be sort of muttering as I'm moving along behind you. I'll be like, first it was a crate, now it's a tunnel.
Now I had built this character using the original format for Harbinger, and he has an arc tool. Is an arc tool still an acceptable item to have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Arc tools are still a thing. So your arc tool, I think of it kind of like the Omni tools from Mass Effect.
Right.
But you can flavor it however you want. I've had one person who flavored it as an actual like physical kind of multi-tool type thing that they had attached to their arm. Or as I've also had people use the kind of almost like somewhat holographic almost nature of the actual Omni tool itself. But yeah.
I pictured it as something along the lines of a more mechanical-minded tricorder, where it actually has a piece that comes out for scanning and another piece that's a multi-tool that links to it, and you actually pull little pieces of it out and link it together and snap it together and make what you need.
Sounds good. Yeah, I can dig that.
And I had him listed as having Whisper Link. If you don't want him to have the Whisper Link, then I'm cool with it.
Oh no, that's standard Harbinger gear. You guys all have Whisper Links. Actually, I should have probably described that for John and Juve earlier. But the Whisper Link is essentially like an earpiece that you wear that allows you to communicate to each other within up to a 1 mile range. So, and yours will be set to a specific channel so that you can communicate directly just to each other without being on a public channel or anything of that sort.
And I would assume that our spy, the fly in the ointment, would have a Whisper Link also, but it would probably be in a passive sort of setting so that we could push a button and it would just sound a vibration alarm or whatever to let him to get on the line.
Sure. Yep. Sounds good. Makes sense.
Okay, so we'll follow this this path, doing our best not to make any noise and get there as quick as we can.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's impossible for Golga to progress without making any noise. But you're in a maintenance tunnel. You should be able to get there without detection. You think so?
Very good.
Now, when you actually get towards the rear of the ship, and it takes you a good while, you're crawling through these things for probably 20 minutes or so. This is a big ship, and it takes you a while to get back there, and your progress is kind of slow, unless you want to just move on and leave Golga and Mitch behind. But I assume you didn't want to do that.
No.
So it takes you about 20 minutes to get towards that area of the ship, and as you're approaching, then you'll pass by several other rooms, and there'll be panels that you can see for access to access into. But you're heading for the communications, and when you get there, you can see the kind of light up ahead, the access panel that leads into the communications area. Think of it like a ventilation type shaft type thing. You know what I mean? So you've got the slits, so you could even see in, and the light in there is much brighter than anything you've seen so far on the ship. It's got kind of a reddish orange hue to it. And give me a perception roll, actually, since you're at the front there, Claude.
Perception is something he is good at. Not as great as investigate, but that is perception expert. He had 2 experts, and that was investigation and perception. So he's got +8 with that. So we are rolling, and survey says roll 11 + 8, so 19.
Nice. So yeah, you can hear sounds coming from inside there. The first thing you hear, of course, is the actual sounds of communications being received from various ships in the fleet itself. You pick up sounds that you assume would be communications coming from the planet or the moon below. You also hear human voices. So there's at least 2 humans in that area, in that room. You get a 19. Yeah. So those are the major sounds that you're picking up. You're picking up sounds of multiple communications coming over the systems themselves, and then the sounds of a couple of people who seem to be talking inside.
Can I try to intensify the voices within this room?
You want to try to like lock in on them and amplify them amongst your whisper link or something for everybody to hear? Is that what you're saying?
You could even utilize one of your little drones. Think about those little drones that fly around you as being part of you. They can do what you want them to do. You can connect them to people. You can attach them to devices to amplify them. So
then that what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one of the drones, attach it to the communication thing to boost up the signal to hear what the other two people are saying.
So what I would do, and I'll say you don't even have you don't have to use one of your spheroids right now, because that'll use your Astra and stuff, so you might want to save that for later. I'll let you go ahead and just make a perception roll with advantage, Juve, because I'll say you're basically amplifying that sound. You're honing in on it and trying to amplify it using your whisper link.
All right. Get that. And you said with advantage, correct?
With advantage, right? So roll 2d20, take the highest one, and add whatever your perception modifier is.
Let me get my... All right. Nine is the base roll.
Okay, that was your best one, yeah?
Yeah, I ain't doing too well today on rolls.
Okay, and what's your perception modifier? Do you have it as a skill?
Perception modifier.
If you don't have it as a skill, just add your wisdom modifier.
Yeah, I don't see. I see proficiencies.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And which skill did you want me to look for?
Perception.
No, I do not have perception. So
what's your wisdom modifier?
I have wisdom modifier. I have the roll is 14. Sorry, I'm looking at this character sheet. It doesn't really.
Oh, so 14 is your wisdom, so that's a +2. So you got a 9, so that'll make it an 11. You can't make out exactly what they're saying.
Okay.
But it seems to be just some kind of small talk conversation.
Nothing of significance.
Their voices aren't raised. No, they're just chatting about something.
Okay.
I imagine while this is going on, I've sort of closed the gap a bit between like myself and Claude, who's at the front, because he's been sort of looking around and listening to what's going on. And I'm just going to whisper behind him and I'll say, "What's up ahead? What's the plan?"
We're trying to get as close as we can without detecting, and if the opportunity presents itself, we will get out of this tight-ass tunnel.
Good.
And establish our communication fixes. And while we're doing that, hopefully you'll be able to cover our backs, because we're going to have to be quite focused on that.
How many people are in the and mechanicals are in the room ahead? Because if there are people in there, the instant we pop this panel and drop down into the room, we're rumbled.
If we get into that situation, then whichever the two of us is closest to the panel will instantly secure that, and then the other two will have to deal with it. So there's really no way to tell unless we send a drone first. It'll just depend on the moment.
Well, dealing with any people in there isn't too much of an issue, but obviously yourself and Mitch are far better placed to be able to do something with the comm system than I am, apart from the disabling part.
True. If we can't determine where everything is, and you pop and you happen to be closest to it, then just hold your ground and we'll get behind you and we'll play it by ear. But if we can't, if we can't have the opportunity, we're going to send forth a drone.
Okay, I'll wait your signal before I make any further move.
Are we at the point now that we can transfer a drone, or are we quite there yet?
Yeah, sure, you can be there. I mean, you were within sight of the access panel, so that's no problem.
Okay, so let's have my fellow mechanic send it, since I've already extended one of mine.
All right, then I will launch another drone out, and then see if do I need to make another perception roll?
Well, what exactly are you trying to do with the spheroid?
Try to access the resource panel, the control panel. I mean,
oh, try to access it mechanically. No, you can't. You can't do that with a spheroid. You won't be able to get access to the.
My fault for not being clear. What we were trying to do is determine if there were any people.
Oh, okay.
To do a visual recon of the immediate area and see if there was something we can see from there. Basically, just set your GoPro out.
Yeah, yeah. That
you could actually do that with your ARC tool, essentially your tricorder-like device.
Okay, very good.
You could do a bioscan.
Then if that is a available thing, then I will do the bioscan and set it forth. I will make the appropriate attachments to stick it through the vent and then do the bioscan.
Sure, no problem. So go ahead then and give me a perception check with advantage.
Yay!
Actually, no, let's call this an investigation. Sorry, investigation.
Investigation, which is even better. Yay! +9 with advantage. All right, here we go. Die roller, we're doing 2 dice. And rolling. I got a 9 and a 13, so 13 and 9, 22.
Nice. Yes, there are 2 humans in there. They are sitting in. You can almost even pull up a somewhat of a scan if you think of like a almost like a blueprint type thing of the room and
right.
the layout as far as you know it to be, and you can see that they're sitting at a control panel side by side. They seem to be sipping something, bringing something up to their mouths and drinking, and chatting.
And how close is our?
And they are sitting at the main communications panel, the one that you need to get access to, of course.
Of course.
How close is the access panel to them? It is about 20 feet away, and their backs are to it.
Looking at the panel we're going to have to pop out to egress into the room, does it look like it's going to pop open and we're going to walk through it like a door, or we're going to have to pop out like a womb kind of situation?
Well, yeah, you're going to have to crawl through it, like a kind of like a womb situation, yeah. Keep in mind you're in an access panel crawl space. Or not access panel, but a maintenance tunnel crawl space.
Is this the sort of thing that they would have direct sight of us, or are they in another section of the room that won't catch a direct sight?
Well, they could get direct sight. However, like I said, their backs are to you at the moment, so because they seem to be focused on their control panel.
This is on a ship, right?
Yeah, you're on a big capital warship.
How far are they from the nearest air hatch?
The nearest airlock?
Yeah.
A good considerable distance away.
Okay.
Probably several hundred meters.
So the way I see it, we pop the grate, I kill those 2 in there, you guys access the comm system.
That's a great idea, but not being a massively skilled warrior as yourself, I'm assuming that as fast and deadly as you are, that you would dispatch one of them without effort before he could blink, but the other one would, even if he was a mundane piece of crap, he's still going to be able to push a button. So I suspect he'd sound off an alarm. So
I am very quick at killing people.
at the very least, I'm thinking if we could get them away from the panel, even a few feet, that would make all the difference in the world. So if you've got a suggestion for that, I am eager to hear it.
Perhaps use one of your drones again.
Absolutely. Now that of course is an option.
Does my drones have anything like sleep propellant or any of that built into it?
No, the only like kind of set programs for them is you have the targeting drone, which would allow somebody to get an extra die added to their attack roll. You have the healing property, where it basically dispenses a metagel or a shot type thing, if you will, to heal damage, or the defensive setting, in which case for one round, it produces kind of like a shield of a sort to help defend the target from attacks.
Okay.
If I can get across to the two of them, I believe I should be able to kill both of them before they can raise the alarm. The problem with sending a drone in is, depending on what their training tells them to do, their first reaction on seeing the drone might be to press the button before they go and investigate.
I have a question. Is there a way to jam the signal for the alarm beforehand using a drone or like my Omni tool?
If we were intimately familiar with this setting, like this was our ship, that might be the case, but I suspect it's just going to be a button.
Yeah, you don't think it's very likely. You could possibly do so from the control panel itself, but in that case, then you'd have to be right next to those guys.
Gotcha. And we have these uniforms on, correct?
Correct.
Two of you do, yes.
Yeah, you are the most likely to pass muster because you're of a standard height and appearance.
So why don't I just put on the uniform?
You're in it.
Oh, you're already wearing the uniform, I'd say. But yeah.
And why don't I just act all natural, go up there and say, hey, send up here to maintenance to work on the control panel. Are y'all guys currently using it? If they say no, then I go to work and they say, yeah. I'm like, well, it's kind of urgent. It's going to wind up messing up. And then I throw out a bunch of jibber jabber and just access it that way. No bloodshed, no alarms going off. Just, me looking like a typical grease monkey.
It's entirely possible you could try to pull that off.
That could work. If you could come up with a slightly altered plan that would get them to step a few feet away from the control panel first, like you're not necessarily going to the control panel, but maybe you're here to check a secondary system. And
perhaps you could ask them to sign a work order or something similar.
Yes, very good.
Okay. Then that way I'll go. That's how I need to do a work order, and then I got working the stuff back here. There might be some coolant links, and if you don't want to get yourself dirty in your uniforms, you might want to step back, and that's basically it. Now, do I have anything that could pass for a work order?
You could try to punch something up on your data pad, yeah.
All right, I try to punch something up on the data pad. I cover I basically have some grease put on me to make it look like I'm, been working. And then I just act like a cool cucumber and go up there and let the warrior know, if this goes to shit, kill everybody and make sure I stay alive.
Okay.
At this point, I crack a smile and I'll say, I understand.
Okay, so I will go first because I'm the smallest and I'm right there. So he'll step over to the side and let the others come through, and he'll have his shotgun ready just in case things go to shit.
So you're going to be the one who first opens and goes through the panel. So give me a stealth roll for that there, Claude.
Very good. Stealth roll, he does not have the skill, so it's just at +1. So let me roll that. Let me go to my die roller and rolling. Because it was such a cool idea to go first and so brave, I'm going to take an advantage. No, not really. I got 13 + 1 is 14.
Okay. Yeah, that will get by their passive perceptions, and they're not particularly looking out for anybody to be sneaking into the room, so you will get in. You remove the panel quietly and kind of climb in and can kind of set it aside quietly without making any noise. And there are other like panels and major like kind of, if you think of like mainframes and things of that sort in here, that you could even use to try to hide behind if you wish. So
I wish.
Now,
as long as I can keep them in view.
You're the first in the room, though. I want you to roll a perception check for me as well.
Perception is at +8. I am rolling right now. Dun, 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 dun. Survey says 18 + 8. So I got a 26.
So you can see the main entrance portal, the door that leads into this room from the main hall where most people would walk through. The door is closed, however, it does have a kind of viewing portal on it, and you can see that there is another one of those large baromechs standing outside of it with its back to you.
Just to be clear, because my hearing is crap, are you saying the baromech is in the room with us?
Nope, it's out in the hall, but you can see it through the viewing portal on the door itself.
Okay, very good. Very good. Now, the access panel to the door, how close is that to me?
It's not terribly far away, and you made your stealth roll so you could get up to it without being noticed if you wanted to. However, the next one to come through is going to be Golga, right? So.
Yep. My focus is going to be on if the alarm goes off, it goes off, and we'd have to deal with it. But if the alarm goes off and there's a baromech right outside, we pretty much want to keep him from getting in. So I'm going to point to the door, and I'm going to do the old finger across the throat death thing, and I'm going to be watching the panel, and I'm going to aim my shotgun at the panel, and I will be prepared.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to drop out of this hatch. Like before I do, I'm just going to look back over my shoulder in the cramped confines of the ventilation shaft at Mitch, and I'm just going to say, just so that you know, Mitch, if they spot me dropping out, I'm going to move straight to step 2 of the plan. And then I'm going to drop out of the
Okay.
hatch.
Now, this is going to require a stealth roll for you, Golga. And unfortunately, because of your size and your armor and this thing, you're going to be rolling at disadvantage.
Okay, so my lowest is 10, which is 11.
11. Okay. So you drop out and land with a kathunk.
Yep.
And the guys both kind of look back over their shoulders and look directly at you.
Okay, in which case I would like to immediately... I'm basically going to be bombing across the room towards them, including activating my action surge to give me an additional action just to make sure I get there straight away. My plan is, as I run in, I'm imagining my sword's got some sort of like magnetic clamps or something, so it's on my back. My plan is just to like pull that off, and I'm just going to go straight to kill those 2 people before they can raise the alarm plan because they've spotted me.
Right, absolutely they have. So I believe you also have an ability that gives you a bonus or an advantage or something to attack anybody who hasn't acted yet in a round.
Indeed, I get it. I get advantage on initiative in the first on any initiative rolls, and I get advantage against people who haven't acted yet.
Okay. So let me see here. They've turned and spotted you. You've dropped in and drawn your sword. So yeah, we'll call that initiative. So everybody can roll initiative, even though Mitch is still in the hatch or in the maintenance tunnel.
What do you add to initiative? Sorry.
Your dexterity modifier.
Okay, so I'm a 19 then.
Okay, 19 for Golga.
Okay, now my sort of channeling Red Astra into my weapon, it says it's a bonus action, so would I be able to do that as I'm running across? Or
Oh yeah, it's a bonus action, so you can do that.
Okay, so as I'm unclipping my sword, I channel this Red Astra into it, and like these sort of red, like flickering flames of this energy sort of appear around this greatsword.
Now your action surge, is that also a bonus action, or is that just a free action?
It's just a free action. It says I can take 1 additional action on a turn, but I have to have a long or a short rest to refresh it. So
cool. No problem. What did the rest of you guys get on initiative real quick so I can write down an initiative order?
D20.
Okay.
Yeah, D20 plus your dex modifier.
7 + 1 is 8.
Okay.
I have base 16 on my dex, and I rolled a 7.
So your dex is 16, you get a +3, so you're on 10. So okay, so Golga is on 19. The officers are on 12. On 10, we have Mitch. And on 9, we have Claude. Okay. So that's initiative determined. So Golga, you do indeed get to go first.
Okay, so I get.
I'll let you describe it.
Yeah, I get 2 attacks around. So basically, my plan is, and I've got an ability where if I kill someone, I can instantly like make an extra attack as well. So my plan is just to like run up to these 2 guys who are sat right next to each other. I'm just going to swing the sword around and try and sort of like end them as quickly as I can before they get a chance to like press this button.
Okay, so go ahead and make your first attack.
Okay, so I'm rolling with advantage. Okay, and what do you add for attack? Is it strength?
For melee attack, it is strength plus your proficiency modifier as well.
So that's 19, 20, 21.
Oh, that's going to definitely hit him.
23.
Yep, that's going to hit him for sure with his armor class of 12.
Okay, so I'll roll my damage.
And you're using a greatsword.
Yep.
And you've got the red Astra. What does that do? Does it give you extra damage? Or
the red Astra gives me plus D8. I also get plus 2 because of my Blade Master.
Nice. And is that just for a single attack, or does that last for duration?
Blade Master's just whenever I'm wielding a single melee weapon.
And what about the red Astra thing?
The red Astra lasts for 1 minute.
Okay, cool. Great.
So that's 10. 16. So that's 18 points of damage on the first guy.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's going to kill him in a single hit, actually.
Okay, and then because I'm a Reaver and I've reduced him to 0 hit points, I can immediately attack another creature within range. So because the other guy sat right next to him, I'm just going to swing round into him. Which will give me a 19 to hit the next one.
Yeah, that'll hit him.
And that's 15 damage on the next one.
Yep, that will finish him as well. So you didn't even need to use your action surge. You've killed both of them.
No, well, I mainly
technically still have an attack this action, but
okay. Well, I mainly use the action surge just to like make sure I covered the extra distance because I could as like an extra move. But
nope, that wasn't necessary.
All right. Well, if I've still got the extra action, can I effectively like hold it in case this big like robot thing comes through the door?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to activate action surge until you actually use it. So
okay, cool, yeah.
Save it for later. You haven't used it yet at all, so that's fine. Don't worry.
Excellent. That's me done.
So yeah, you dispatch them so quick, like 2 quick flashes of that greatsword with its glowing red Astra energy around it, and you just totally Darth Vadered those dudes. And so you will have seen this and heard this, of course, Claude and Mitch. You would have heard it too as you were making your way out of the and seen it as you were coming out of the tunnel yourself.
And I'm like, I look at the both dead guys. I'm like, look at him, look at the dead guys, look at him.
I'll give you like a thumbs up.
You got some anger issues, but I'm okay with it. Just don't get angry with me. And I just walk to the control panel.
I've never seen it as an issue.
And I step over the bodies like all like cartoon style.
And you can hear the various communications that are being passed around, around the ship itself, from the ship to the planet and vice versa, and amongst the other ships as well. All kind of still being patched through this main communications board in front of you. And there's also an octagonal kind of crystal-like looking panel, almost like right in the middle of it, and a light springs out from this, and a like digitized face appears there. It's the face of an old man with a goatee and bald head, and it looks at you, and it says, "I am Warden. Explain your presence."
I'm here to do maintenance.
And it kind of looks over at you, Golga. It says, "You are intruders. You're not meant to be here." And red lights start to flash and klaxons start to go off.
Mitch,
now you guys,
the flight.
because I know John and Juve, you haven't played this game before. You would know this to be the Spectre. Spectres take the place of AI for the ships in Harbinger, and again, they are also basically spirits of the dead that inhabit these ships, take the place of like an AI. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you going to say though, then, Golga?
Yeah, I'm just like putting a hand on like Mitch's shoulder, and I'm just going to be like, send the signal to the fleet.
All right, and I proceed to do that. I hook up to the thing, my Omni tool, start typing away on my wrist, and send out the message.
Yeah, I mean, this is a communications board, so you can send that message without having to make any particular kind of roll. What are you doing, Claude?
He's going to step. Claude's going to step up to the control panel for the door, and using his arc tool instead of the shotgun, he's going to tap in and go ahead and just very first and only thing he's going to do is lock the door down.
Yeah, no problem. So,
knowing full and well that the AI, the Spectre, could try to reopen it. So once he locks it down, he's going to short it.
Give me an arc tool roll.
All right. Let me see if there's anything special about my arc tool.
You're a mechanist, right? So you get to add your proficient.
Yeah.
So you get your proficiency modifier.
All right, that's +1. Would this be considered a tech roll? Yes, it's a tech roll.
Yeah, it could be a tech roll instead of an arc tool roll. You could, whichever one you have the better modifier in.
I have a +6 with my tech and a 1 with the arc tool.
Yeah, so make it a tech roll then.
Very good. Tech roll it is. Here we go. Not at advantage, so 1 die and rolling. I got a glorious 19.
Okay,
plus
so
my modifier. So
you lock down the door and then short out the panel, like just basically put a an extra energy charge through it from your arc tool that then shorts it out, and it sparks fly, and then the lights go out on it.
And then on the whisper link, he is going to say. Eel bone butterflies.
Ah, right. Eel bone butterflies. You'd sent me a private message about that. Was it eel? Oh, it was iron bone butterflies. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I meant to say eel bone, but yeah.
Okay, cool. No problem. So that is you sent that on the channel to your spy.
Yeah. Well, everybody would have heard it, but yes.
Okay, just checking. And as you do that, and Mitch is sending the signal to the fleet, and you can still see the face of the Spectre. It's just a hologram, but it's just kind of looking at what he's doing, and it's looking at you as well, Golga. And it says, "What are you doing? You are in violation. You are not meant to be here.
Is there any sort
Security
of reset?
Forces are on their way.
Is there anything we can do for like a reset for the Spectre? Is that a typical thing that can be done?
Not from here. You would have to, if you're going to try to affect the Spectre itself, you would have to go to the Spectre containment chamber and do something with its actual crystal. It's essentially, think of it kind of like a big phylactery, if you will.
All right, so I'm going to look on my little map and see what the next quickest egress point would be, since they're not going to be getting through this door.
For getting out?
Yeah.
Back through the maintenance tunnel.
Clearly, once we get into the maintenance shaft, the next place we could go to, the next room.
Oh, the next room you could go to. You could either go over to engineering, which is not too far from here, or you could go out to a panel actually out into one of the hallways.
Engineering sounds perfect.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you're doing all this is happening, the baromech outside the door turns and tries to open the door. The door doesn't open, and it begins to hammer at the door with its big metal fist. And you do see the door starting to bend and show marks of damage as it's smashing.
Claude will enter the maintenance shaft and say, "Golga, let's go," and hurry up.
Okay, so Claude goes into the maintenance shaft. Mitch, what are you doing next?
Let me know as soon as the message is away, Mitch, and then I'm going to disable this comm system.
What do you mean disable the comp? Oh, you gonna break stuff? Oh, okay.
Your message is away.
All right.
The fleet is
Then,
signaled.
Right, get yourself back into the maintenance tunnel then, Mitch.
So yeah, I get back to the maintenance. So I'm like, oh, okay, you do your smashy thing.
Yeah, and my plan's just to try. I mean, I don't know whether my sword. I don't know how long that's taken, so I don't know whether my sword's still got the.
Oh yeah, it's not even been a minute.
At which point, yeah, my plan is just to like trash as much of this equipment as quickly as I can using said sword, and then I'm going to run back to the maintenance tunnel. Hopefully, that I'll be telling Mitch just to like for them to get going, and I'll catch them up. So I'm going to trash this, and then I'll make my way to the maintenance tunnel.
Okay. Cool. So, Mitch, you go into the tunnel behind Claude. That's you, Juve.
Oh yes, I go. I climb back into the tunnel, start heading back.
Yep. Okay. And so, yeah, you can trash. Spend a few rounds just trashing all the equipment in here. As you're doing so, the door is getting smashed in, and it's about to burst.
Okay, so literally the second I think I've done enough damage to like trash this comm system, I'm going to be running across to the maintenance tunnel and basically like diving into it and trying to follow on to these guys as quick as I can.
Okay. Let's see here. How do I want to determine this? I would say you could make either an acrobatics roll or an attack roll to, most efficiently dive into this tunnel that you barely fit into.
In it. Okay, yeah.
Whichever one you feel more confident about.
I'll go for an attack roll then. Okay, so that's only a 10.
Okay. So as you're doing so, the door smashes open as the baromech finally bursts its way through, and it's going to unleash a barrage at you with its minigun as your kind of hindquarters are still sticking out a bit of the.
Okay. In which case, if as I'm sort of like climbing in, I've heard the door smashing. What I'll do is instead of climbing all the way in, I'll shut the grate because I've got no chance of like avoiding bullets if this thing just like reams its gun down the ventilation tube and like fires. So I'll close the hatch on the whisper link, shout for those two to keep going. Then I'm just going to try and buy them some time by delaying this thing.
Okay, no problem. Very valiant of you. You keep going?
Not really that valiant. It's just that if it sprays the thing with bullets, all three of us will probably die.
Are you going to keep going, Claude and Mitch?
Yeah. Heading for the engineering section.
Okay. So, as you do that, it will fire on you. So let's see here. What is your armor class there, Golga?
My armor class is 18.
18. Good to know. And let me just double check his attack modifier. Okay. Got it. Okay, so it unloads with this minigun, and its first attack is a 25.
I'll do it.
Second attack is only a 16, so it only hits you with one of the rounds, one of the barrages, I should say, because it's not exactly just a single round.
Yeah.
Think about you guys remember Predator? And what was his fucking name? Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, ain't got time to bleed. Oh, I rolled kind of poor on damage. So you're only going to take 7 points of damage from that.
Yeah.
So he really didn't get too much penetration on your armor and didn't hit anything vital.
Okay, so you guys on the whisper link, because I've like kept it open, will probably hear like me sort of like grunting a little bit as these like the sound of these bullets like pinging off my armor, and then you just hear like my voice sort of crackling slightly above it saying, I don't know how long I can hold this thing. You need to move as fast as you can now.
I'm moving. Trying to get the engineering. Can I access any panels that potentially shut down any security doors to like?
Not from inside the maintenance tunnel, no.
Yeah.
Is there anything Is there anything in the maintenance tunnel that I can see that might benefit us, like a panel to affect environmental controls, gas lines, any of that?
No, not inside here.
Claude's going to go through the panel, the access panel to get into engineering. Shotgun at the ready.
No problem. It's going to take you a few rounds to get there, so.
Okay, very good.
No problem.
Then I keep rushing down the hallway now.
Okay, so as you guys are moving down, John, we can roll initiative back in the communications area.
Okay, splendid.
What is this thing's initiative modifier?
Well, I'm on 22 at the minute.
Okay, and it's on 13, so you're first.
Okay, what's its armor class?
Its armor class is 20.
Okay. So I've hit it with my first attack thanks to my advantage. So damage. I'm assuming that the fire's faded off my weapon now.
Does that advantage apply to something that hasn't acted this turn, or is it something that hasn't acted this combat?
Oh no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Let me re-roll.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I've still hit it. So
okay, cool.
Okay, so
you can use another point of Astra if you wanted to activate that red Astra thing again too. I don't know if you said that, but
yeah, 13 damage to it.
13 damage, nice.
From my first attack, and then
it still looks plenty healthy.
I'm just going to keep hacking at it. I'm assuming my second attack, does that take place immediately after my first, or?
Indeed.
And I've missed with my second, so I've hacked a few little chunks out of it, but I'm still hacking away at it.
So 13 damage. Okay. And it will try to grab you with its, metal hand. Essentially, it's going to try to grip you. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's going to be a 22, so it will grab you.
Yep.
And that does 8 points of damage.
Okay.
And as it's gripping you with its right hand, kind of digging into your armor and digging into the flesh underneath, it pulls the little, the big minigun up to you to try to fire at you at point blank range. Mm-hmm. And that's going to hit you for 15 points of damage.
Okay. There's like blood all over me now. My armor's like creaking because it's like crushing me. I've got like 9 hit points left.
Mm-hmm. So it's trying to hold on to you. So if you want to try to get out of that grapple, it'd be an opposed check.
Okay, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my action surge to give me an additional action with the idea that I'm going to try my best to break out. And obviously, I want to get as many attacks or opportunities as I can. So, First of all, I'm going to try and break out of the grapple. So is that strength, I presume?
It would be either an athletics or acrobatics check.
Okay.
And I've rolled the opposing number.
So that's 19 for me.
No, you trying, but it's got an iron, no pun intended, it's got an iron grip on you, and it's just digging deeper and deeper into your shoulder and clavicle.
I'm going to use my action surge action to like have another go at trying to break out effectively.
Okay.
Okay, so 19. So that's 21 for my second roll.
Yep, that'll get you loose then. So finally you managed to kind of pry through. You can describe it if you wish.
Okay, yeah, so my first attempt to break free, I sort of struggle a bit. I managed to loosen its grip a little bit, but don't manage to break out. But I freed one of my arms, so I managed to sort of like grab hold of its hand and effectively like rip its hand open, allowing me to escape from its grapple. And as I sort of drop out of its grapple, I'm going to use a bonus action to spend my last sort of astrofade limit to like reignite my sword again.
Nice. Okay. And that reaches your astrofade. You haven't gone over yet, right?
Yeah, I haven't gone over. If I spend any more, I've gone over.
No problem. And then it's its turn, yeah? So having kind of broken free from its grapple and moved a little bit out of...
Do I have an extra action? Because I know I can attack twice around, and I use the action surge to get the second attempt to break free.
No, because that's only if you're doing an attack action.
That's cool.
Yeah. So... it's going to, again, fire on you with the minigun. The first attack will miss because that's a 12. The second attack is a 22.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't Harbinger have a weird sort of thing that at very close range goes guns have a weird disadvantage? I want to say that was the situation from the last game.
Not that I'm aware of.
It didn't make a lot of sense, but I think it did happen.
Not that I'm aware of. Okay, so that's going to do 7 points of damage.
Okay, so by this time I'm sort of like struggling to hold my sword up. There's like blood all over me. Like bits of my armor have been blown off. I'm breathing quite heavily. I've basically got like 2 hit points left. But obviously I know if I try and run now, this thing's going to like gun me down. So with the last of my strength and my blade still ignited, I'm just going to like hurl myself at this thing and try and like take it down before it finishes me off.
Okay. So you get 2 attacks.
Yep. So that's 21 on my first attack.
That'll hit.
Okay. 6, 12. So that's 19 damage on my first attack.
Okay, so 19 plus 13, that's 32 total so far. Got it.
And 20 with my second attack.
That hits.
And that's 18 damage with my second attack. So I'm just hacking like madly at this thing with my sword.
Okay. So as you're doing so, you've essentially just like you've hacked off the gun arm on it, and you've done significant damage to its main chassis, I guess you'd call it. It's down to 1/6 of its hit points anyway. So it's pretty badly damaged as well. Sparks are flying off of it. Oil is leaking out of it in different places. But it's going to still attack you with its claw arm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That is an 18. That hit. That's exactly what it needs to hit,
That's
right?
exactly what it needs to hit, yeah.
So that does 10 points of damage.
That's me done.
So it reaches out and grabs you again with its remaining right arm, kind of like right in the rib cage area of the armor, and just tears into that and into your actual rib cage itself. And at which point you lose consciousness, drop your sword.
I imagine as it's sort of like ripping into me, you guys are like hair on the whisper link, just me being like, oh God, I hate these things. And then they'll be like, it's like my whisper link cuts out.
Yeah, you'll hear some banging sounds as it like lifts him off the ground and starts slamming him against the wall. And because it finishes the job. It doesn't just leave him there to make death saves. But at that point in time, he's bought you a few rounds.
Absolutely.
And you will have reached the engineering panel. What do you do when you get to that panel?
Without any hesitation, Claude's going to go through the panel with his shotgun in hand.
Okay. So you come into the engineering room, and you will see in here 2 more organics, 2 more humans, engineering officers, and you will see 2 of these baromechs.
Fuck.
And they will see you as well. Now, this is a big room, so I'm going to say the baromechs, one is 60 feet away from you, one is 70 feet away from you. One of the humans is 10 feet away from you, the other is 50 feet away from you.
Is there a way to hack these machines?
You could try. Now, keep in mind that they are also animated by like undead spirits in a sense. So you might not be able to completely take control of them, but you might be able to do something to screw them up, to give them disadvantage, something like that. But to do so, you'd have to get within range of them. You'd have to get up to touch them. The only person as you come into this room, Claude, that's immediately in range is the human who's 10 feet away from you. Of course, you have a gun,
well,
so I mean, you could move, and with the other human I said was what, 50 feet away, and the mechs were 60 and 70 each. So,
well, we're going to go ahead and level the shotgun at the first guy and give him both barrels.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack.
To see if there's anything. It's a scatter gun.
He's standing there in his engineering suit. He's got an armor class of 12.
All right, he's got +4. So we are rolling. And if ever there was a chance we needed to have a good roll, it would be now. And survey says 16 plus, what did I say, 4? 1 second.
Yeah, he's a +4. That's going to hit for sure.
So 20. So that's a D10 penetrating and +1 damage. So I am setting up the dice. D10 and rolling 8 + 1, so 9 points of damage.
You grievously wound him. He's still alive, but he's he's barely, his guts and chest are in bits. You can see blood pouring out of him.
And I assume that's the end of my options of being able to do stuff, or can I do something else or initiate something else?
Well, that's your action.
Okay, very good.
Before that, you can still do a bonus action if you have any, or any free action. But
is it the sort of thing that you could pay Afterfade to do more? Is that the sort of thing that you can do in this game?
No, I don't think so. Not that I would have.
Could I engage my my drones to do something?
Those are free actions. Your drones are bonus actions, I should say. So you could.
That's what I thought. And would my drones be something that I could access panels to, like, engage system?
No.
System? No. Okay. Well, very good. Then I don't think there's anything, unless there's something you can tell me.
You could deploy one of your main drone functions. The medical droid, the targeting droid, or the defensive droid if you want. Droid, not droid. I mean drone.
Drone, right? My spheroid. Can you? If I engage my medical, but I haven't been injured yet, would it be like in preparation for being injured?
No, they last for 10 minutes. You can use them. At
okay.
any time
then I'll latch the droid on.
10 minutes or 10 rounds. It might be 10 rounds, but yeah.
Long enough for our situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. However many drones how many spheroids I can latch to myself, I'm going to do so, and call back to Mitch. Come out guns blazing.
Chances are, if there are any enemies still alive in this room in 10 rounds, you're not going to be alive anyway. So.
True.
So.
True.
So he's playing. Can he ask? Can you handle these while I hack the console so we can just get the hell out?
I've already done all the stuff I'm going to do, and I hollered at you. You do what you're going to do.
All right, then I hack the in the engineering. We're just supposed to be hacking the engineering console, correct?
We already accomplished our mission. You're doing whatever you're going to do now.
Then I say we go towards
your mission is accomplished.
Then I said let's haul ass for extraction and throw up a defense droid.
There is no extraction plan.
Quad laughs. Extraction.
We mean there's no extraction plan.
You guys were here for the planning. Didn't make an extraction plan. There's no ship coming in to bail you guys out. I mean, now your own fleet is on way to engage the enemies here, but there's going to be a space battle going on for that.
Anything said at this point would be metagaming and character, so I'm just going to wait out what you're going to do.
Just if you wanted to try to make your way to one of the bays to try to steal a shuttle or maybe whatever kind of vessel might be in there, you find some way out. Or if you wanted to try to make your way to an escape pod, you could possibly do something like that.
That is what I was thinking, was to head for an escape pod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're in the
engineering.
You're in the access. No, he's still in the access tunnel,
true,
right?
He's still in the access tunnel. True, he's got.
He's in the access tunnel. I'm in engineering, and
So I bring up the map on my. I try to see if I can access a map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys all have the map, so you can,
So I look at which is closer. So what's closer, escape pod,
There are
or
escape pods in the engineering section.
then I communicate, get into one of the escape pods, and we'll just jet ourselves out and then radio for assistance. How many people can fit in the escape pod?
Roll a d10 for me.
I rolled an 8.
Okay, so the escape pod is 80 feet away from you. So both baromechs and the humans are between you and the escape pod. There are 2 escape pods here in engineering. Each one is a single man escape pod, although you could probably jam 2 of you in there uncomfortably if you had to.
Okay.
Claude will holler back at Mitch, go ask one of the baromechs to get in the escape pod with you.
So, what would you like to do?
Oh God, we're all gonna die.
Possibly.
Okay, so we got the 2 baromechs. They're in the way of the escape pod. How far is the engine? The bay.
The cargo bay? Or
Yes.
the whatever. The fuck are they called? The hangar bay.
Hangar bay.
Let's see here. You are back at the back of the ship. It's going to be a good couple 100 meters away from you, but you could get there through the maintenance tunnels. If you are lucky, you might not run into any trouble along the way.
Okay. And I tell everyone, get back into the maintenance hatch. We're going to the hangar bay and avoid the conflict that we're currently dealing with.
Okay, so you're going to start
It
moving
makes
along
no
the
sense.
maintenance
It
tunnel.
makes no sense for me to try and engage these 2 giant mech things, knowing that we don't have enough manpower to take them out.
Okay. No problem. So you're going to move, start making your way back through the tunnel in the direction towards where the hangar bays are. No problem.
Yeah.
Then this engineer who is currently bleeding out from the shotgun scattergun blast to his chest pulls up a handgun and fires at you, John.
Well, that's just not very nice.
What's your armor class?
32.
Nice.
Hold on a second. Let me look. 13.
Oh, he hit you. And that will do 6 points of damage.
Does the medical...
You could use the medical spheroid at any point within the next 10 minutes.
I will use it immediately.
Okay.
As in it will jump in the way of the situation and absorb it.
Roll a d8 for healing.
A D8? Is there any bonuses to that? Let me look. Nope. It's just straight D8.
Mm-hmm.
And the D8 says, survey says, 1d8, rolling, and I got a 6.
A 6. Okay, so you only take 1 point of damage then.
All right, 1 point of damage absorbed. Now, is this little guy gone, or is he still stays with me?
No, he's gone. Once it's used, it's gone.
All right.
The other engineer, who is 50 feet away from you, he pulls his pistol and moves 10 feet in your direction and fires as well. But he misses terribly. And the 2 baromechs, they were 60 and 70 feet away each. They have a movement of 30. Yeah, so they'll both move 30 feet in your direction and open fire with their miniguns.
Again, that's not very kind.
14. You said you had an armor class of 13. So the first one hits you
13.
once with 1 spray for 12 points of damage. The second one hits you once as well, misses with the second shot. And that's for another 12 points of damage. So you
It's just not a
1
very
point of
nice
damage
thing
from
to
the
do.
pistol shot, and then 24 total from the 2 barrel mechs that are moving towards you.
Just terribly unkind
Hmm.
to me.
Are you still alive?
What was the total? I'm sorry?
Total of
25?
25 all told, yeah. After your
Yes, he's still alive.
Okay. Then it's
He
your
had
turn.
he had a 47.
It is your turn.
The whole point was to gain access, try to get as close to an access panel for his arc tool,
Mm-hmm.
ignore the oncoming people, and he's going to jam his access tool into the appropriate orifice and press the 0 button to engage it.
What are you engaging?
Auto destruct.
Okay. That is going to require a, we'll call it a tech roll.
Okay.
I've got a DC set for that.
Is that something that I can apply the astrofade to, or is this not the sort of thing you do with that?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if it was I didn't
can
know if it was
only
one of the things where you could
can only
feel
use
it.
Astra to use like your certain special abilities and such that you have. So.
Okay. All right. Very good. I didn't know if it was something you could join with the mechanics or something like that.
No, I mean if you have a specific ability under your class that allows you to do something like that, sure. But I don't think you do.
Once per session, because he has creative engineering,
Mm-hmm.
he gains an automatic success with tech or arc tool.
Excellent. So you can engage the auto destruct. However, there's a good chance that somebody else could disengage it. So do you want to try to set it so that to override so that they can't disengage it?
That's what the 0 was for, was to engage the cipher for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm still going to have you make a tech roll.
Okay. And my free action for that is to have my spheroid latch itself onto the device to protect it.
Okay.
And my tech roll. Let me do the tech roll for you. 1 second.
Give me a tech roll. This is just to make sure that you get it completely set up to where nobody can access.
Right.
Because there's a possibility that it could be overridden from the bridge.
Gotcha. Here's my 20, and it is at +6 with my tech. And I got a 13 + 6 is a 19.
A 19. Okay. Okay. Yep. The auto destruct is activated, and the countdown begins. And I suppose you set it at the lowest or the quickest possible setting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want it to start critical mass right now.
I'm trying to think, what is the quickest? Does anybody remember Star Trek 3?
Of course.
What was the timer on that? Was it a minute or 2 minutes?
You know, I don't remember the exact.
I'm trying to remember. I remember it was really quick.
I want to say it was like 13 seconds. It was a weird. I mean, I could look it up, but I want to say it was pretty damn quick.
Because I'm thinking that was like the quickest they could. Let me see.
Yeah, because once that, not that the whole ship blows up, but that it reaches that critical mass where you can't go back. I think that was the point that I was thinking of, was I want the cascade to begin. So even if they did try to shut it off, the cascade is already started and it's too late.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Just trying to see here. Trying to find an answer for this. Sorry about the delay here for a second. There's the instruction code. 5 seconds, right. But how long did it take? Oh, yeah, it was 60 seconds.
60, okay.
There you go. Wow, that's fast. Okay, no problem. As you do that, Juve, you continue crawling along the tunnels, the couple 100 meters you have to go to get to the hangar bay.
All right.
Spoiler alert, you're not going to make it in 60 seconds. But and then the engineering officer beside you, he collapses from his massive blood loss. He is now at 0 hit points and goes unconscious, doesn't get another shot at you. The other one, however, does get a shot with his pistol, and he is going to hit you for 3 points of damage. And the barrel mechs continue firing on you with their... so the first one hits you for 14.
Eesh.
And he hits you a second time for 10 more. So that's 24 total from him, plus 3 from the other guy, 27. The other one misses you with his first shot and misses you with his second shot. I think you had 27 hit points, though, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're at 0. You're downed.
So he is just going to stagger there, and he can't fire or anything. So
you can describe your death scene dramatically if you wish.
I'm going to say he didn't fire for effect, but he's going to pull the trigger on his shotgun anyway, even if it's like pointing at the ground, and call out for justice for self, Ruldo, and then pass out.
And they will, of course, finish you off. The Baromex will continue advancing in your position, just blasting into you with these miniguns until you're just cut to ribbons.
Because they don't know it's coming.
Mitch, you can go ahead and describe your own final moments as you're crawling through this maintenance tunnel until the ship blows up.
I keep trying to get to the end of the thing. Are there any side corridors to these maintenance shafts?
Sure. I mean, there's ways into other departments, other rooms, etc. I'll give you, kind of free license to narrate it as you wish.
But I'm supposed to die in this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
correct?
you're not going to make it out.
Okay, I'm good. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. There is a possibility because you would have an alert. You have basically 10 rounds. There would be an alert for the fact that the self-destruct sequence has been automated and the ship will destruct in 60 seconds. So I'm going to say if you can make we'll call it a dexterity saving throw. I'm going to give you a high DC, but you're going to have a dexterity saving throw to actually get off one of the side corridors, one of the side rooms, and to get to a nearby escape pod.
I need to roll a d20.
You roll
With
d20.
With or without disadvantage.
No disadvantage or advantage. But under your proficiencies, what saving throws are you proficient in?
Dex.
Good.
And intelligence.
So your Dex modifier I know is a +3, and your proficiency modifier is +3. So you get a +6 on this roll.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay, you will make it. So you can narrate that instead as to how you scramble to another room, get into an escape pod, and hit the button, launching you towards the planet as you watch the ship explode.
So I'm running back. I'm running up the corner. I'm like, oh shit. I can't believe this shit. They do not pay me enough money for this. And then I bring them up like, oh, wait. That's it. And then I basically stomp my feet on an air grate, fall down, almost break my ankle. And then I proceed to run down the hallway as stuff starts to detonate and explode, diving into the escape hatch and hit the button right before there's a big poof of flame and whatnot as I'm jettisoning out of the ship.
And as your escape pod launches, we get kind of an outside view of this massive ship. Explosions going off all over the place, and the ship is starting to lose its orbital integrity. Your escape pod and maybe let's see here. Let me check and see how many other people made it off the ship. Not too many. Maybe about 10 other escape pods all launch as the ship begins to break apart and start to fall into the atmosphere of the planet. Should I say the moon? But the warden not only did you manage to shut down the interplanetary communications so that they couldn't call for backup or for to alert people of the attack, but it's also, you've managed to, thanks to the actions of Claude in the engineering room, you've managed to completely destroy the Warden itself, which will make the fight for Ozen much easier for the invasion force, which is on its way and probably arriving as we speak. You'll see other ships coming in, Grimoire attack ships, and Alzarine vessels as well, commandeered from Trithon themselves, moving in to make to engage the fleet above Ozen. And you'll see the transport ships coming in too that will be bringing the ground assault team to the planet's surface to strike at the garrison on Ozen. But that's for another episode, perhaps the next episode of Harbinger Ascension. Thank you very much for playing, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll end the broadcast now, but I'll hang out if you want to chat afterwards at all about just what you thought of your first Harbinger experience or what you thought of the experience, John, as well. So thanks to everybody who watched it. And yeah, I'll be doing more of these soon, I'm sure.